welcome to NAP episode 9. It's Noobs Analyzing Pros, and today we're going to be talking about Clash Royale's Season 34 balance changes, which will go live on Monday, April 4th. So, there's a lot of nerfs and buffs in this update, and also two cards have been reworked, and we will talk about the reworks first. First one is going to be Elixir Collector, and I actually haven't seen this card in the game a lot. It's usually a bad card because you can kill it normally with like a positive elixir trade, and the elixir has been there's been like one extra elixir that's been given at destruction, and its lifetime has been nerfed from 70 to 65 seconds, but its generation has been increased from 8.5 to 9 seconds. So what do you think about this rework for the elixir collector?
I think even the decks that normally would use it, it's still gonna be pretty bad, just because by the design of the card, it's really, those kinds of decks really aren't gonna be in the meta for a while until the win conditions of those decks get pretty significant changes. And as well, I do like the extra elixir on death change, because when I rocket it won't be so devastating for the elixir collector player. However, still won't be that good.
Okay. And the next card that's being reworked is the Electro Giant, and the Electro Giant is a very, very strong card right now because it can basically damage whatever damages it, and so whatever like the buildings that attack it or the troops that attack it, they will all get damaged, and in most cases killed because the Giant is actually so strong and it lasts for so long. And the elixir has been buffed. It used to be 8 elixir, but now it's actually 7 elixir, but its HP and damage has been reduced by 15%. So I think with this rework, it's going to be less of a punishing card and more of just a card that you use as a win condition, because sometimes if you're like low on elixir, people can punish you with the Giant, and its HP and damage would be so like overwhelming for you. But now that it's been like decreased and the elixir has been decreased as well, I feel like it could definitely be a more viable card and a win condition that is more like that can be used more properly rather than used as a punish. So onto the buffs now. Mirror has been buffed. There's a huge buff for Mirror. Instead of actually increasing the Mirror troop by 1 level, it's actually been increased by 2 levels. So why don't you tell us about what you think about the thing?
I think it looks like a really big buff, but to be honest, I don't think it is that big. Just because playing 2 of the same card back to back, I think that's a really niche. There's only really niche uses for it, and I think the only use for it would ever find would be if there was a really unbalanced card in the game, which I don't think there is right now. So, and I don't think that extra elixir will ever really be worth it, especially since you do kind of have to play your cycle around it, and having to play 2 specific cards consecutively every single time won't always work out.
Yeah, and so the second buff that we have is for the champion Golden Knight. Golden Knight used to be pretty strong along with Archer Queen, but in the last update it was actually nerfed really hard by Supercell, and that basically took it out of rotation. But they've increased its range from 5 to 6, and that's like, so that's just from further away now. And I actually don't think this is gonna really help Golden Knight, because Golden Knight's such a bad champion and it can be easily outclassed by Archer Queen, which does everything that it does better. And
I agree. I don't think the range was the thing that was limiting that card. It was definitely more like just the tankiness, as well as it's like because it gets distracted so easily by things. And so I really don't think increasing its range will help it at all.
Okay, yeah, we're on the same page. Okay, so the third buff that we have is for Giant Skeleton, and Giant Skeleton is actually it's a really matchup dependent card. It can be really good in some matchups and it can be really trash in some other matchups. And its hit speed, HP has been buffed by 7% and 7%. So I think this will actually really help the card because it was in a really strong deck along with Royal Giant and Fisherman a few metas ago, and because it got nerfed, so it got taken out of the meta. But now, because it's such a unique card, it drops like such a huge bomb after dying, so it can like really punish players. And so I think this card will be back in the meta. It's gonna be this buff was really useful for it. What do you think?
I haven't really ever played with the giant skeleton, just because I've always associated it with meme decks. But I do like making it a bit tankier and do more like actual attack damage. I think that changes its identity a little bit away from the bomb, which I do like because the bomb is more of a feast or famine kind of thing, and I like making it more of a balanced card.
Okay, and Nick, you're gonna like this one because you play Expo. Archers, they've gotten a buff. Their hit speed is actually increased by 9%. That's a lot, from 1.2 to 1.1 seconds. And also Ice Spirit's been buffed as well. It's also a staple in Expo decks. And the freeze duration has been increased by 30% from 1 second to 1.3 seconds. So as an Expo player, tell us about how you feel about these changes.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited by them because I actually switched off of Expo 2.9 a while ago, just because Archers and Ice Spirit really weren't that strong anymore. But with the buffs, I'll definitely give Expo 2.9 a try again. Yeah, I think the extra DPS from the Archers will make dealing with things like Mega Knight and E-Bards much easier.
Okay, so that's all the buffs for this update. And so for the nerfs, we begin with Tombstone, and its skeleton spawn rate has been decreased by 5%, and its spawn pause has also been decreased. So Tombstone was basically just a staple in Lava Hound decks, and I really don't think this nerf was needed because Tombstone's really easy to counter. I don't think anybody's really been complaining about the overpoweredness of the card, but nevertheless it has been nerfed, and so I think this won't really affect anything because Skeleton's just one shot with a tower.
Yeah, not much to say about that. It's just nerf doesn't really matter here.
Yeah. The Ram Rider has been nerfed also. Its snare that is really unique to her is decreased from 85% to 70%. So basically when it snares things, the snare troop is gonna move faster than before. And again, Ram Rider is basically just in one deck, which is P.E.K.K.A Bridge Spam. And this nerf definitely doesn't help it because Ram Rider is its main condition, also a really good defensive card for for the player to actually regenerate their elixir to defend against the troop. So yeah, that's that. Anything to say about it?
Yeah, I always found it weird that Ram Rider was such a good defensive card when it should be more of an offensive card, so I like this change.
Okay, and also another champion has been reworked, and so the Archer Queen has been nerfed. Archer Queen was actually really OP when it came out, and it's actually been nerfed in a lot of updates, but it's still the best champion in the game. And so Supercell has nerfed it again from the hit speed boost from 200% to 180%. So when it goes invisible and everything, it will attack slower. So basically more things will survive. But I don't think this is a change that affects many players because the most level 14 players are in top ladder, and you can only get champions at level 14. So for the majority of players in mid ladder and below, they don't really encounter Archer Queen, so this won't really affect them. But I guess for some really skilled players in our school, Richard, he's gonna really like this one because he goes against Archer Queen a lot, and he keeps complaining about how OP she is, and so this is definitely gonna make him happy and stuff. Okay, Graveyard has been nerfed. So there's usually been 15 skeletons spawned by the Graveyard, but now there's only 14. And so I don't really play against Graveyard a lot. Do you play against Graveyard a lot?
No, but I have heard that Richard does.
Yeah. So again, he's gonna like this a lot because he keeps complaining about Graveyard and everything and how OP it is because it spawns 15 skeletons right at your tower. It can literally take your tower if it's undefended. Okay, and so yeah, he's definitely gonna like that. And We have 2 more cards to go. Valkyrie has been nerfed, and I think Valkyrie, the nerf was pretty needed because it's a card that's seen everywhere from top ladder down to basically like Arena 2. And so its HP got decreased by 4%. So this is probably going to make it easier for your opponents to kill yours and for yours to kill your opponent's Valkyrie. And I think this change was very much needed.
Yeah, Valkyrie's been in a lot of decks for a while. I even put it in my Expo deck just because it's such a better cost per like stat card, and yeah, that it was just worth putting in every deck. So I think this was much needed.
And the final card, the very, very funny card, is Mega Knight. And Mega Knight has been nerfed. Its spawn damage has been reduced by 20% from 444 to 355. And I think so many people are complaining about Mega Knight, but it's actually a card that's mainly found on mid ladder. And the top ladder is basically non-existent. And it's actually pretty easy to defend against Mega Knight. You can just put it down a Knight, or you can put down a Valkyrie, and it's like positive elixir trade. So I actually don't really think that this change was needed.
I don't think it was a bad change because when it comes to the Mega Knight, I think its identity really lies in its jumping ability and its powerful attacks. So I think taking some power away from its spawn damage kind of helps its identity to be more of like a big card that punches things rather than a second fireball. So maybe if Mega Knight ends up being too weak in the future, Supercell can buff it a little later. But I do think this change is pretty nice.
Okay, so we've gone through all the balance changes for season 34, and so we're going to talk about how it affects us. So I mainly play Balloon Freeze because it has so much skill, and actually like the Archer Queen nerf and the Ram Rider nerf, things that counter Balloon really well, so it's really good for me. And as well as Tombstone being nerfed, I don't have to deal with it as much. I think that this update will be really good for me and it will encourage me to play more. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited to try out Expo 2.9 again. And yeah, I'm glad to see a few of the problem cards changed.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching episode 9 of Noobs Analyzing Pros. And next week we'll be interviewing a top 200 player at our school, Richard Chang. We'll be asking about his strategies, his practicing, and how he fell in love with Hog 2.6. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you next time.